Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Joe Martin Show. Today I'm
Hi.
here with Edwin, so can you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Edwin. Go by Edwin Voyager online,
Mhm.
the internet. Nice to be here doing the show with Joe Martin.
Mhm.
Hope you tune into the end to hear all the good stuff that we're about to get into. So amazing. Thank you for being here.
So I want to do something different. Like I was telling you a little bit earlier that I want to do plugs first. So anything you want to like plug in, go for it right now.
Sure. Plugs. So I do music. I do art. I do, various sorts of things on the internet.
Where can I find you at?
Edwin Voyager, Instagram, Edwin Voyager, Twitter. Those are the only two kind of socials that I'm really
Yeah.
actively active on. But email. I don't know. Email if email works, you can email me.
Yeah.
I like all my stuff is pretty much just on the page. I have links to other stuff, other projects, which another one would include Afterlife dating site. I'm sure that's another thing. If you know me, you might know Afterlife dating site. So that's like I'm half 50%.
Yeah.
Leo disease freak. He's the other half of that. So that project has been in the works also as well, alongside with the stuff that I do.
Yeah.
But as far as plugging anything, I just kind of do stuff and create content. I mean, right now personally, I don't have anything that I'm like really trying to push like that.
Yeah.
Like it's not anything that I'm like, oh dude, this is like a pivotal moment in my life. I got to do like all these things. I got to like nothing like that, bro. I'm kind of like just chilling right now, taking a break, taking a little hiatus for a bit. Yeah, I'm just trying to come back with fresh new ideas. And but as far as it goes, I got stuff out there that I just I feel like if you stumble across my account and have no idea who I am, like it might be like a surprise. I don't know. It might catch you off guard. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's just anything and everything that I do, that I put out into the world for anyone else's enjoyment, is just for that reason. That
I'll make sure to add them in the description below so people can find it.
Definitely.
For me, the only thing I have
Click that link down
the only thing I
below.
have promoting right now is the show. It's Archer O with Shirley Temple and Riley. That would be at the Gremlin in McAllen. It'll happen on April 26th, which is a Wednesday. If you buy tickets online, it'll be $11. If you wait until the door, it'll be $13. So if you want to go to the show, I'd appreciate it.
Catch it early, get that $2 discount,
Yes,
$11. Get in on it early while you still can.
Yeah, because I know it seems like a small discount because it's just $2, but I dislike Eventbrite.
Oh yeah, Eventbrite. What is that? Are they like a third party organization?
Yeah, where you can
They
like buy
kinda
the tickets and all that
okay.
stuff.
Yeah, I've heard of Eventbrite. But I just feel like if it's through them, I mean, not trying to like poop on anyone's parade or anything, but I know like third parties, even like with like Bandcamp and other DistroKid, there's like all these things and fees that got to be put into that thing. But I believe that it's also an investment as well. It could either work one way or the other.
Yeah, true.
depending
It's just that
on
I've been seeing them like increase their fees, and I'm like,
yeah.
I try to make it affordable for people, because
Right.
especially right now. So I'm like, oh man, what do I do? So like, you know what? It gives you the option to absorb fees.
Right.
So even though you're paying $11 as a customer, I'm only receiving like maybe $8 or $9. It's like there's like so many fees involved. I'm like, what's this?
Yeah, and that's unfortunate, but for the
It's business.
greater outcome, and for the enjoyment of everyone as a whole, I believe those steps are quite necessary to just legitimize a certain event that's gonna happen, and just kind of event break.
Yeah, it's the I forgot what the saying is called, where it's the cost of doing business, basically.
Yeah.
So you were showing me some of your music earlier.
Yeah.
It was very chill.
Yeah.
Like
What'd you
it's the
think?
first time I heard it. Like I'm
Yeah.
like I haven't like sometimes like I don't get the chance to like listen to people's music beforehand. And when you were showing me, and I'm like, oh shit, like this is something really chill. What got you into music and like creating, like doing all this music?
So yeah, here we go. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna lay it all out. Right here. Go for it. So the music started like when I was a kid.
Girls?
I was like real young. I was probably like a little sperm cell, but already listening to music and shit. But no, yeah. I mean, my dad, he kind of already had music stuff, like the rundown, pretty much. Funny thing though, like he one time was showing us these VHS tapes like that he had in an old storage unit, and I was like, yo, what is this? Like, and he was telling me, he's like, yeah, that's me. He's like a video in like the 80s. He's like playing the keyboard, and he's like, he would tell me, he's like, yeah, we used to play for quinceañeras over in Mexico, and like there's footage of that, and it's crazy because he's like 19, 20, like, the age that I'm at right now, and I'm like, I was when I was watching these tapes, I was probably like 12, like 13, just kind of like confused, like what, but then as you grow, as you get older, you start to realize more, and you're like, wow, I am my parents. I am a product of them, so it's kind of not a surprise, but I'm just kind of taking it that much more serious than my dad did, because he, they, like most parents do, they end up having kids at a young age, or they end up making me, so so grateful for them. Thank you, shout out parents. So yeah, I just kind of carried that through, something I was interested in at church too. They had a piano. I used to go and just like play on the piano. It was like the coolest thing, the funnest thing ever. And that just kind of drove everything else in my life to just like, woof, got a phone, cool, let me get a beat making up. Like, let me just start pushing this as quick as I can, like
that, what got you like immediately to making music? 'Cause it's one thing enjoying it,
right,
and one thing like actually moving yourself into making it.
So moving into it, like getting like, because I had the idea that I wanted to make music even as a kid, even like riding in the car, like listening to music. I was like, dude, like I want to write a song one day that just sounds like everything that I've ever loved in music, and all the sounds is beautiful. My dad, he listens to really good music and kind of put us on to a lot of old musicians, artists, and stuff that
like
I still take.
Like which musicians?
Oh, like Los Angeles Negros. They're like I want to say they're like a Chilean band, or like South America. Los Bukis, Los Bukis, Marco Antonio Solis. So yeah, just old music, bro. Selena too. Selena was really good. Cumbias. And so so all of the palette was laid down as a kid, right? I knew what sounds I was going for, and combined with a lot of other shit, right? Of course, but in terms of like actually getting into music, like making it, and like like this is how you do it, this is what goes down, this is the I had a friend in high school. He I actually went up to him. I want to say I was a sophomore. He was a senior. Yeah, he was a senior. And I saw him just sitting there in the mornings. I would get there early, like ride the bus, get there like at 6, 7 in the morning early. Yeah. And I'd see him, and he'd be there chilling with his laptop, and I'd be like, yo, what are you doing, bro? Like my name's Edwin, I'm introducing him. He's a very cool dude. And he pretty much was like, yeah, I'm just making beats. And I had gotten this MPK Akai. This is the MIDI keyboard. I was dating someone at the time, and she was like, oh, like we went to Guitar Center like as like a date or whatever, and she was like, oh, do you want anything from me? I was like, wait, like what? Like what do you mean? She was like, no, yeah, for real, like you're like, I got you. I was like, well, okay, then, and then like prior to that, I was like fanboying over like the MPK. I was like, this is the starter thing, this is, and it was like 90, like 100 at the time, and so she was like, no, yeah, it's okay, like that's nothing, like I'll get it for you. So I was like, oh shit, I was like, cool. I was like, I have my first piece of gear, first piece of equipment, like this is what I needed, now I can go and like that was the like predecessor to like all the other shit that I would eventually get into. But we just started making music. I told him, I was like, hey, I have this machine. He was like, dude, cool, sweet. So he plugged it in, and we just started making beats, started going over to his house after school, and just started making music. And again, everyone has their own relationships in high school, their friends, and people that might not necessarily be around now, like now that we're older, now that you graduate, and you realize life changes, life changes, and it's like you can't keep doing old habits and stuff. So unfortunately, he's no longer with us, rest in peace, but he was the one that like introduced, really motivated me, took me under his wing, put me onto all the things that the Valley, like this was prior to like COVID. This was like Yerberia Cultura, like having a show.
All of that era.
This was.
How was that area? Like, how was all of that?
Well, I was so like, I was probably like 15 or 16, like just so confused. Like, dude, I don't have any idea. Like, I'm like over here, like checking my phone because my mom's blowing it up. And it's like 11, like 12 midnight. She's like, where are you? Come home right now. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, fuck. and I'm just over here just kind of like just watching everything go down. I'm just like, wow, this is an interesting space. This is, Yerberia, like the first couple times I went, it just was all like, how you when you're introduced to something new, it doesn't really settle in until like later, and then that's when you're like, oh, okay, all right, it's a chill spot. But I was young, I was naive, I was real like just in awe at like, wow, like I want to be on stage and like play a show one of these days and do all of that and be a part of the mix. You know what I'm saying? So that's when my friend and I we just were like, let's get this project going, this shoegaze noise, like, we had all the ideas down, we had it good, like we had it to the T, like this is the sound that we're doing. The jams that we had were like superb, like amazing, beyond anything that like I can replicate. I mean, obviously music is always going to be like their own different thing with other people, but with him this was just like the perfect mesh of sounds. He knew what he wanted. He definitely knew what he wanted. So I'm kind of just carrying the sound that he was going for. Yeah. In a way, like just continuing what he had taught me, pretty much.
Yeah, his legacy.
Yeah, his pretty much. Yeah, like the thing that he really wanted to go for, and like I knew, like regardless of all the things that other people said of him, like of what like. Not to say that I turned a blind eye to any of it, because I would still kind of like distance myself from the guy. He wasn't. He was very perfect. Problematic. Yeah. Nobody's perfect for sure, and we're all young at a certain point, and we all do things. And I didn't know what was going on in his life personally. Pretty much won't get into any of that. Furthermore, but shout out my friend. So he, definitely carrying the sound through with the music. So. That's a big reason why I do it.
What are you trying to like carry forward that he had made?
Well, so he just man, and off scenes I'll like show you some of this stuff, but like he just always had this very advanced taste in music that just kind of opened even more like deeper, like going down the rabbit hole even deeper with music, like, and he was just kind of the dude that opened me to like new artists. He put me on to shoegaze. He put me on to My Bloody Valentine, Slow Dive, like, all these other artists that were like alien to me. Like I was like, oh, like damn, this sounds really nice. This sounds fun. This sounds amazing, bro. So I love that. And he was like, yeah, I want to start a project like this. So
yeah, sometimes you need that person to like just start introducing you to like different stuff that you normally wouldn't find.
To introduce you to that sound palette, because you can skim through a song, like, don't get me wrong, you can go and search your own like stuff and do that on your own time, but if you're in a situation where that song fits the right setting and the right like mood and the right ambience of everything, it's like, dude, that song is gonna hit you like 10 times more as if you were to like listen to it on your own. You know what I'm saying? You got to be under the right circumstances, like to really feel something. If not, it's just gonna like you're not going to connect to it. It's not going to be received. That feel, that message that all artists do, that all musicians do, try to capture, try to recreate. It's like you're going to miss it if you're not paying attention. You know what I mean? So he was really like I was just real patient, real just kind of like accepting, like, okay, cool. Yeah. Like I like this song. Like, let me hear what he plays next. Like, yeah, it's a good song. And he would show me a lot of cool stuff. Yeah. Shout out. And I mean, even today, like I still go on my own and just try to find stuff. And I also have like really close friends too that are like always putting me on. They're like sending me song links. I'm like, thank you so much.
That's the crazy part about it, because like right now we have like we have so much information at our hands with the internet. Like you can go to Spotify. Right. It has a lot of music, but like to find it. To really like find, because what I also feel like is like a lot of artists will take on to the sound that's like. It's like the sound that's kind of like if it's dark wave, it's like indie pop. If it's like new wave, whatever, like it's like there's always gonna be that slew of like new artists that are gonna like try to get that sound or try to like capture it, but it's like that sound is only there because it was unique. That sound is only there because that artist decided to take a different approach to music and just try to like push that. So a lot of the times we pick up on the outcome and not necessarily like what made that sound the sound. You know what I mean? Not trying to like work from where the stem
of it is from, but more so like, oh yeah, this artist is only cool because it sounds like this other guy. But if you keep going, like that guy also got from this other guy.
Yeah,
so like
yeah.
it's never gonna stop. You're never gonna find the true like starting
roots,
point,
yeah.
the true roots to why certain sounds are in, certain sounds are not. But again, it just goes back to a whole cyclical thing. where
How
it's
do you
like-
how do you try to balance it as a musician? Because I know there's like I had musician friends as well who I'm not sure if it's either ego or just them being honest. Because sometimes when you're trying to like not necessarily start a trend, but like when you're doing something different, how do you balance the need to like feel validated? Like you don't want people listening to my
Right.
stuff compared to trying something completely different where people aren't gonna be like really receptive in the beginning.
Well, I believe, yeah. Well, like you just said, people aren't going to be really receptive in the beginning. I believe trends are like trends only pick up because of social media. I mean, trends to us, as far as we know, are whatever we see on Twitter and Instagram, like constantly. Trends in memes, trends in, I don't know, like words. Even like some words will be in, and you know, it'll only be relevant for that time frame. And then a couple of years pass, and it's like, oh, no one says that anymore. No one talks like that anymore.
Yeah. I had the experience recently where I heard someone use the word ratchet. And they're like,
Ratchet? Yeah, bro. That's
and I'm
just so
like,
ratchet,
it's like
bro.
2013, 14.
YOLO.
It's almost a year ago. 10 years ago, almost a decade
bro.
ago.
I'll be like, fuck it, YOLO on the Joe
YOLO.
Mine Show. Hey, yeah, man. So I believe that trends they pick up with over time if enough people catch on to it. But I also believe that the only way to truly like start, because you have trends and then you have waves.
Yeah.
You know, and I believe when you start a trend, or you know, it's short-lived. You know, a trend is something it might come back.
Yeah.
It might do its time. It might be there for a while or for a time, and then be gone for a while and then come back. You know, just from the natural order of how things work, someone's gonna find it and pick it back up. But what I believe with, you know, let's say something that doesn't really necessarily catch on right away, for instance, like music that tries to push the boundaries of what it is music is, you know, I think that's the same case, like where if you're gonna start a wave, you know, waves kind of like are created way like deep underground, like underwater earthquakes and shit, you know, like you gotta like take it way to the next level, like deep like that, and you gotta like understand what musicality, what sounds. To me, it's always what sounds good to me, but it's not always like, hey, you know, not everyone's gonna enjoy it, because music, obvious, like the most subjective thing, like for but I think that if you believe in yourself enough to the point where it's like your tastes and your ideas are your own validation at that point. If it sounds good to you, what validation does the world have any use of you at that point?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, I write this because it sounds good for me. It sounds fun for me. I mean, if you like it, if you like it, that's cool. You know, if you like it, that's cool. That's a plus.
I think that's easy to say. Like, oh yeah, you shouldn't need the world's validation. But like, let's be honest. If you release a song and you only get like 5 views, 10 views,
then it's like,
you're
all right,
like-
buddy, like you maybe it's not, you know, your artistically creative imagination, like amazing mind. It's probably just your music isn't that good, man.
yeah. Because I mean, let's be honest. Sometimes people
No.
get like, oh man, only 20 listens and that's it. But again, yeah.
Hey, no, but dude, straight up, I've heard some fire ass music. Like I know artists, right, personally here in the Valley, that, you know, they put out music because it is the sole like reason for them to exist. Like it is their escape.
drive,
It's
yeah.
their, you know, it's what they do with their time. But they don't even care. They probably wouldn't even come on a show like to even talk about what it is that they do, just because they're just so to themselves, you know. They're just so like in their own world, just like vibing to their own stuff. And it's like, dude, this is the craziest, the most insane piece of music I've heard from a phone, like recorded on a phone, like the most minimal, like, dude, I'm over here sitting with like, you know, money that I've saved up for gear that I've like invested into the music for over all these years, and it's like, dude, you're making like music that already, like this one song that you showed me off of your phone, I'm already like shitting bricks, because it's like, bro, all right, word, for sure. And you know, I have friends like that, you know. Shout out Boney, bro. Shout out Boney.
Those artists like that.
I think it's just the, you know, the pure like the pureness of it all, where you don't exercise your emotions through outward means. Like, you don't take it out on other people, you just put it into your music. And I feel like people that have a bunch of like me personally, I bottle a lot of things in for the sake of like everyone else. Like, I won't react, I won't, you know, if someone's telling me something that I don't really agree with, or I'm like, they're just being straight up like dicks to me, I'm just gonna be like, okay. I'm just gonna.
Do you bottle it, or do you just like push it away?
I push it away, but I also try to use it as fuel, which, you know, nothing new. You know, everyone takes their own like criticisms a certain way, or whatever's thrown at them, opinion, constructive criticism. Everyone has their own way of
Basically
coping with that, for sure. And, you know, I feel like I just like I am the way that I am, and I hang around people that are similar to me. So it's like I can kind of see why, you know, I have a friend that has music that's really good, and it's like made off of a phone, because, you know, if, and this is going into some more other shit, but it's like, you know, you've heard that saying, like, dime quién tus amigos son y te digaré quién eres. That's how you are. Yeah. So that's so.
It's very true.
It's very real. Very real.
People don't think about it, but like, yeah, it's true.
It is true. It's not it's not like a saying just to get you to, like, you know, reevaluate. No, dude, it's a real thing. Like, I truly believe everyone that's in my circle that knows me, that really like spends enough time to know me, like they would agree. Like, we kind of see ourselves in a lot of things. Like, I can relate to you, you can relate to me. We can bounce off ideas through music. And I think music is the universal language. Is if you can speak it, you can speak it. You kind of have a universal language.
What would your music? What kind of language would it be?
So yeah, it kind of even transcends language to even begin with. Like, I don't think what I'm trying to capture with my sound is anything through just specifically words. You know, I can say all these things in my songs. I can put all these words and sayings together, phrases and things like that, and hope that it'll reach the right person at the right time, and all of this and stuff and yada yada. But at the same time, it's the whole. It's the song as a whole. It's the project as a whole. It's the reason why I put an album out. The reason why I put an EP out. There's like it's intentional. It's not just like, oh, I like want to put an album out because I just want to have an album out. No, like all the songs are meticulously placed in order. All the songs kind of segue into one another and shit. Even things that I've like over the years, like I'm my biggest critic. I'm my biggest I'm my biggest, like, you know, anything anyone can tell me about my music, I've already said it to myself like 10 times worse. Like, dude, your shit sucks. Like, you know, you're nowhere near the artist. Like, you know, like, yada yada. But again, a good healthy balance of both negative and positive, because I believe that, you know, if you're just clouding negative thoughts, then that's okay. That's no, I'm not saying that either. But at the same time, you know, I think like if I can get myself to recreate what's going on in my mind sonically, like, okay, this is the feeling that I have in my mind. This is what it is supposed to express, like the chords and the structure, the BPM, like all of that has to come into play, you know. All of these things, when you're making a song and you're producing, you're writing, you're spending hours on this one project. You open FL, whatever DAW, you open and just start from the ground up and just start going. You know, you make your loops, your patterns, your melodies, everything that orchestrates this one like 2, 3, 4 minute track. And you gotta have intention in every single step of the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, every single thing has to mean something, because if not, then it's like, like, or for instance, like if you're doing something for filler, like for a placeholder, you put like a 4/4 beat, like a, you know, just have that as a loop, come back to it and like make it interesting, make it, you know, like, you know, slice another part of your song up to make it, you know, okay, doing more, it's doing less, you know, to each their own. The song is its own thing at the end. The end product is all like the artist's intent. It's what they wanted the listener to hear, and that's how they wanted to go. But I feel like if you're not seeing it like that and you're only seeing it as like, oh, I want to put a song out just because like I want clout, I want, I don't know, this song's gonna blow up, like, and you're not thinking about like every step along the way, things are gonna get lost in translation. So yeah, I'm a very from the ground up kind of person.
You really
like
think a lot.
Yeah. Oh,
what made you an overthinker?
Oh, I've always been that way. I've always just been real like alienated in my own thoughts, like from everything else. Like there's times where I can like, exit that mentality and just be free and not allow my thoughts to cloud my judgment, not have any second thoughts or anything like that. But
it's a good idea to have, because I think some people tend to overthink, because I'm an overthinker. Mm-hmm. And sometimes your instincts tell you to do one thing, but then like you start overthinking and like, oh no, then you take a different route. Do you ever realize you had to write the first time? Right.
Yeah. I was just about to ask, like, do you ever find yourself like at a point where you're like, man, like
I should have
just not did that. Like, and it's like, I have those moments as well, man. But I think the more, and as an overthinker, it's a problem when something doesn't necessarily goes the way that we want it to go, and it just kind of like throws us off course. As an overthinker, you're just always thinking like, man, like what could have been, like, but to like you were saying, you told me like, I am an overthinker. I do think a lot, but mm-hmm. my remedy for that, it was just kind of just finding just beliefs, like religious and spirituality, everything that encapsulates you as a person and sums up you as a whole. Like mm-hmm. that's your belief system, man. Like I personally just believe that everything and all things at all given times is just happening accordingly. Like we might not understand it, we might not get it, but it's only because it's like if your head was just kind of like grabbed and like look this way. All right, you see that? All right. Look this way. All right, you see all of that? Now look straight. And boom, your peripherals are like happening constantly.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that.
And the one thing is at the center. It's like right there. Yeah.
I agree with that. And like going off of what you just said that and about like your family and all stuff, I think people don't realize that like you are yourself as a person. Like you're your own self, but you are also a piece of every other ancestor you had before you. Like you're a combination of everybody behind you. And some people don't think about that, but like, how did I realize that? Because I think there was a study like a couple of years back, or I don't know how long ago it was, where they were doing experiments on chickens, and basically they were trying to discover if some behaviors were either like taught or like they can be like
if they can be like hereditary, if they were just hereditary.
And basically, like if you ever own chickens, like if you ever see a hawk on top, you chickens start going crazy because they see the hawk. Mm-hmm. So they were trying to realize that with like chicks. So they had chicks who whenever like they were separated from their families, but even they realized that the hawk's dangerous. So some of our behaviors is based on instincts. Yeah. So you should like really like if your body's telling you, hey, don't do this, don't go here, mm-hmm. don't do this, you better listen to it because something's telling you
like, hey, you know, cool it. No, I agree, and that's a very real thing. Instincts and your body, and all these various mechanisms that mm-hmm. are within us that are constantly at work, constantly at play. Always, you get a pit in your stomach or your throat gets. You get a knot in your throat, something's up. Or, like you feel like a slight tap on your shoulder, or your leg will twitch or something like that, bro. Constantly always communicating. Constantly,
it's crazy.
Whether, it's trying to get you to come to the awareness of something in particular, mm-hmm. Something that's more specified towards you as a person. Like everyone's got their own personal things. Mm-hmm. No one's free of this world we're in, and we all have like to abide by a certain set of laws. Mm-hmm. But I also think that shit. I lost my train of thought.
You're talking about the different stuff.
Sorry, just going.
How did your spirituality play into like your life and your music?
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Yeah. So, I again grew up in a religious Christian household, Seventh-day Adventist. We would go to church on Saturdays, and we were just taught to believe, like Jesus Christ. He's our Lord and Savior. Mm-hmm. Everyone, Catholicisms, they have their own beliefs too, and
it's weird because like I noticed a bunch of like musicians from like throughout the interviews I've done, church usually plays like a really like prominent role in the beginning of like when you're playing music and all that stuff.
Yeah, because I think that in a house of congregation for people to meet and for people to share ideas and just congregate and have a good, you know, a time in the week where everyone can just like share, you know, point being just share. And music is a big part of that, you know. That's why we have you know, ensembles and like songs and there's a word, man.
No matter where you go, like giant gatherings, whether it be church or like even football games, you have the marching band.
Yeah,
there's always music involved.
Every celebratory event, every single gathering has music. Shit, I mean, think about when the last time you went a day without hearing music, even whether it would have just been the radio, whether it would have just been like something on the screen, like a commercial. Dude, music is
even in nature with birds.
Even in nature with birds and everything, there's always like a tunage, you know, to the world, to the universe. There's always a certain frequency that's happening, that's going on.
Do you believe in that? Like, I'm not sure if it's a conspiracy or not, but where people talk about like the different tunages, like the modern one and then like one in the past. Do you know what that's about or no?
Well, from what I know, I know that the world is like on a spectrum. It's like there's always frequencies going on. That's why, you know, you have cell towers. Things travel through these frequencies. Yeah. You know, I think that like big on conspiracies.
Yeah. There's something with tuning. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think that you can alter the frequency of how people how people's thinking patterns are, because we're all connected. We're all water. Yeah. You know what I mean? Our body is like 98, and like bodies is made up of like something like 97, 98% water or something. Yeah, so it's like water just naturally goes with the movement of like whatever is there. If there's like something vibrating, like the water's gonna move with it. You know what I'm saying? So I think we are susceptible to that as well. If there's anything being controlled within the atmosphere, and I'm not saying I'm one of those guys that's like, oh, like there's chemtrails and shit. Dude, they're fucking us up with the chemtrails.
No, for me it was more about the tuning, because I know people have different, like this, like a worldly tuning, and then there's like the modern tuning where supposedly it's like, I don't know how it is. Like
I get you. I know what you're talking about. So so that kind of all goes back into the whole thing with, I don't know if you've heard of like the age of Aquarius, or us entering the age of Aquarius.
No, can you explain?
So pretty much basically what our generation and our people, our point in time, our age, we're going through like a massive like shift from the zodiac wheel. You know, you've heard like the wheel, like everything works in cycles, and so we're exiting like a 6,000 year mark period or cycle from like the old age, which I couldn't tell you which one. Well, you know, I just know because someone brought it up to me. They're like, we're going into the age of Aquarius, and the thing is, like, the age of Aquarius, that unlocks like knowledge. Like, you guys are just instantaneous. Like, knowledge is moving at such a rapid pace where it's like you can't say that you're identified with this age, because there's not the same amount of shit that's going on now was nowhere near what was happening then. So it's like, as time progresses, as we move down, as we move forward, everything else kind of like, you know, it works exponentially. So like let's say we're going like kind of slowly progressing, and then it just kind of hits like a very inclined slope. And I think we're at the point in time where we're seeing those shifts happening way more rapidly as time goes. And as far as like the tuning and waves and frequencies and things like that, a lot of stuff are like, a lot of things are being outdated, like even because what I believe as a human, as our designer, as our creators intended, like I believe in telepathy. I believe in, you know, energy is a very real thing. We already had all of the technology from the start. You know, we're just getting back into the awareness of it, and is what I believe for our age. You know, for our people in this time frame.
I just think things are getting really crazy right now. Cause like I agree with that. Like, there's been the whole stuff about AI, like AR art.
That's one
thing.
Yeah. So that's what I mean by like, everything is advancing so quick. Everything is happening so fast. You can almost like get all the information all at once. But the tricky part is that, you know, the older folks, you know, my parents included, they have such an old way of thinking, like an old belief system that, you know, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that can relate. Like, things are not at all how they were when they were growing up. Yeah. You know what I mean? We have access to so many different things nowadays at our fingertips, where it's just like, dude, how could you not want to do more with your life? Like, how could you not want to take all these tools that are here? Yeah, you know, we have the typical 9 to 5, typical work your job, pay your wages, and, you know, we still live in a capitalist society.
Mhm.
Me, I'm not too political. I'm not gonna say like, oh, this
I-
is what I
politics-
believe, this is what I stand. Yeah,
Yeah,
politics.
politics. I clocked
Yeah.
out already. I'm like, it's because like anytime you get on Twitter, it's just like everybody's
Dude.
complaining about something. Like
Something, man.
for
It's-
me, like I don't mind people complaining, but like I'm more about like, okay, so what are you going to do?
Mhm.
And a lot of people love to complain.
Right,
But
what
they
are you
don't love
gonna
to
do?
like solve anything.
No, and that's the thing is like, okay, I can sit here and talk to you, and if you're interested in watching this whole thing and sitting down and listening to me as I speak, first of all, thank you so much. But also, second of all, that goes to show that there's someone out there that's like interested in whatever it is that we have going on, to the point where it's like, bro, if you have a stand, or if I have something I'm standing on, like, you know, this is what I believe, and this is,
Mhm.
you know, and you agree, and we can find a point of like conversation, and not headbutt, and not give each other like, you know, negative, just perpetuate like a negative cycle of like, oh, well, you're not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing all it is that I can do, bro. Like, I'm doing music, I'm doing art, I'm doing like the, you know, at the same time, while still balancing life and managing to, you know, have all of that intact as well. Cause it's it's also a very like tedious thing to be able to attend to, you know, your mom and, you know, like your family. Like, I come from
Every
a family.
every relationship, everything. Like, yes,
Yeah.
work.
There's 9 of us. I'm
Okay.
right in the middle. So I have 4 older siblings and 4 younger siblings. So I'm just kind of like,
Do you have like
dude,
the middle child syndrome or no?
Dude, I don't know what the middle child syndrome is, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like
It's,
if you have
it's
4,
to like feel left out because either you're
Oh,
dealing
yeah.
with like the older child who like they get the praise, and then the younger kids, well, they're the babies. So
yeah,
kind of like
yeah, no, one to the max, bro, to the max. So that's why I guess I felt like so alienated, and this internal battle within me was just
Yeah.
like, dude, like you're like, it's like a tug of war between like me wanting to do things for others, me wanting to create things and like enjoy, like try to shift someone's perspective at the very least. You know,
Mhm.
if there's anything that I can say like I feel accomplished about whenever, you know, if I do drop something and it's successful, my idea of success is if, you know, it reaches you, if you feel resonate with whatever it is that I'm putting out, and it's like you click with it and you know what's up.
yeah.
Hey,
And I'm glad
that's all
you
that matters to me. That's all that matters to me.
No, I'm glad you actually have already defined what success is to you. Some people just say they want to make it, but like it's so vague. Like, what is making it? What is success?
Yeah, what is
Some
making
people don't
it?
even
What
think
is
about like what their success would be.
right? I mean, yeah, making it to me personally is just making something and yeah, making it.
Just making
working on something and making it.
Because some
That's
people-
what making it is.
Some people don't even think about the fact that some people want to do what you're doing, but like they never do it. They just have this idea, but like it just becomes an idea.
It just becomes an idea and it's never fully fleshed out, and that's something I try to tell all my friends. I try to put them on, is just like, dude, believe in it from the jump. When you start something, just know that the outcome of it is gonna be fire. It's gonna be dope. You're gonna like it.
And even if it's not dope or
Yeah.
fire, like that, like the fact that you did
The
is
fact
something.
that you did is just working towards your best product. Like, you're always working towards that best piece. I don't think the artists that wrote the songs that made them that big were just one night over the next, like, wrote that song. No, like
Yeah.
they had all these years of experience and trial and error, and you got to fail many no, I'm playing.
No,
You got to fail many times.
you got it. You have to.
And just to know like every single aspect of it, you know. But I also believe that the coin can be flipped. You know, the shift can be changed, and yeah, it's to each their own. Honestly, we're out here all just kind of trying to capture the essence,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak. Right.
No, I agree with that because even when I was talking with 37th, you'll see that episode later on.
Shout out 37.
I was telling him that there was times when I was working. Well, you mentioned I worked at Home Depot and then also at Pizza Hut. My first job was at Pizza Hut, and my manager, he's maybe like a decade or so older, and he was like he was telling me like when we were like talking about stuff, like his original dream was to like become a YouTube skit star because that's what was really popular back then. In early YouTube was doing skits.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
he was like, man, but like I never did my goal, and then eventually started having kids, and well, like that ended everything, and now he's just working at Pizza Hut as a manager, and that's the end of life. Like that's
Yeah, that's and
it's it's scary.
it is. I don't want to say it's sad, because if that's their choice, who's
Yeah.
to say, like, you know. But what I do feel for anyone that had to just compromise their like their dream or their goal, their
Mm-hmm.
aspiration, their career, that what it is that they wanted to do. Shit, I mean, I was actually watching a YouTube video about this one YouTuber that was getting burnt out. He was just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, he's like, I've been doing these videos for years, like I've been doing all of this stuff, and that's literally what he was talking about in the video. He was just like venting. He was like, I'm just making this video to vent to you guys about how it is that I'm doing. And it's like, I feel like regardless of the fact, if you dive headfirst into anything, you gotta like full force own it, like own every single thing that you do. There's gonna be points of like just just like reflection where you're just kind of thinking about if this is even worth it or not, if this is
Mm-hmm.
like there's always going to be something, even if it is your dream job, even if it is your like
Yeah, you're still you're gonna face some stuff. Yeah.
yeah, because you can even like find out that that's not and that's the messed up part about it too. So it's like, oh, you keep fucking around, you'll find out, you know what I'm saying? Like but nothing bad, I always try to wish the best, but that's why it's always good to keep that balance,
Mhm.
do it for a time, come back. Do
Yeah.
it for another time, come back. Don't ever, overwork yourself or think that you got to do it all in one go and it's all going to happen all like in this one. No,
No.
No.
It's waves.
it's waves, man. And I think that when you stop prioritizing the fact that you can be successful and can live the life you want to, and you start bringing other things into the mix, like there's nothing wrong with living a life of just melodrama, just things that are everyday, like, oh, I gotta buy groceries, I gotta,
Mm-hmm.
you have a kid, I gotta feed this kid, there's nothing wrong with that lifestyle either. I think
No.
no matter what, you're never gonna break like through that barrier of like, I'm free from the system, I'm
Yeah.
like fucking Neo from the Matrix, like I can do whatever I want. Like no one has that.
Yeah, because if you notice, like even like really successful people, like even they mess up.
Even they mess up, and
I was
you
watching
know
a-
what,
yeah.
their downfall is even that much more greater. Because think about it, dude. Think about you being like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk,
Mhm.
being that big, and then doing something that just upsets like a massive amount of people, and you're just getting all this
All this
like
hate, yeah.
all this hate, regardless of if you have supporters back. Like you're just putting yourself into that spotlight and just
Mhm.
kind of like having to accept that that's your reality, and that's what you got to live. So
Mhm.
even rich ultra super successful people like are not immune to
Yeah.
criticism or just like things that people don't agree with. I think
Mhm.
people there's like a hive mindset of like initial like yes or no. It's like a 50-50, and then it breaks out into like 25-25, and then it's if you're interested right off the bat, yes, okay, then you can keep going down more into depth and understand why you like this, why are you gravitated towards this. But if it's right off the bat, it's like, nah, I don't like that guy, I don't fuck with that guy. It's a no, boom, it's already like boom, hater.
Yeah.
Like that person is not gonna hear you out whatsoever. They're just like boom. And I would like I would advocate for less of that.
Yeah.
Like less of just like, and more of like, hey, let's at least try to see the side before we are quick to like
Yeah.
pinpoint fingers and just say who's who or what's what. And
For me, I was looking at a different aspect about it. Like, that's a very bad aspect. But the one thing about it, I was seeing a video recently about like famous rappers who became broke, and they're talking about like different rappers. Like one of them was like DMX and a bunch of others where outwardly they look really successful, but then like you look into their lives, they weren't paying rent. They had like I think like 12 children with like different
Like
women.
different other women,
So they owe
yeah.
like so much child support. So like even though they were rich for a while,
they still had
they had all
of
this money
yeah.
like just being burned out. I'm like, oh my god. And
So it's like,
there's-
what even is stardom? What even
Yeah.
is like fame? Like I don't believe in anything that would make you not human. Like
Yeah.
you're still like, everyone is bound to the system in one way, shape, or form. As much as it sucks,
yeah.
I am trying myself to like clean my hands of what it is, off myself, my own thing. Which I can get into that as I wouldn't mind a little
What do you
something.
mean by- what do you
That's
mean?
not what I mean by that.
Yeah.
To segue into that one right there is like, so about like 2 years ago was 2021 October, or end of September going into October. I decided, because I was up in Michigan at the time, I was over there.
Mhm.
And I was like, hey man, I'm gonna I'm gonna go to the valley. You know, I don't know, just it's really isolate over there. Very like, you know, my family's over there. I have brothers and my dad, and you know, like I'd been them for the time, and plus I was like, you know, I'm gonna just go down the valley because my mom still lives over here, and I have friends over here, and the stuff that I actually do, like, you know, I built that base all around over here, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and we're gonna try to do more. You know, we're just gonna try to like, I'm gonna just take that initiative to like to exit this cycle that I'm in and go and try to make some music, you know, with some friends, with the people that I work with. And on the way, I was passing Kansas. I was already like, I want to say like 16 hours in driving. I had never driven from Michigan to Texas like that, bro. That was my first like, all right, I'm gonna just go like whatever type thing. Like, I'm gonna just up and go. Yeah, no, those roads are like, you just get very bored easy, like very drowsy, very like, damn, bro, I still have this much more to go.
Yeah, because I have some family who lives in Naibo, and like us off farmland, it's just hills.
Yeah, it's just hills, rural, and especially in Kansas, dude, there is nothing out over there, bro. Like, you pass Kansas, good luck. Good luck, dude. I would just recommend you don't fuck around and drive like more than what the limit is, because they're real anal over there. The cops are assholes. But anyway, that was like 15 hours in. I was getting real drowsy. I was getting real sleazy. You know, I'm not gonna lie, you know. So I had a passenger with me, but the thing is, he didn't want to drive. He was like, nah, like he had just gotten surgery. You know, he had a thing on his head. So I was like, yeah, man, I don't feel comfortable driving. I was like, okay, cool, I'll do it, whatever. Because the thing was, he flew to Michigan because he wanted to make music with me. I was like, all right, cool, come for a week and then we'll go back down to Texas, because he lived in Denton. So I was like, all right, you know, it works. So I'll drop by and you just drop you off, and then I'll go to the valley, whatever. So he came with me. I was like, dude, like, you know, we were just smoking bowls, you know, just on the road, and it wasn't the most responsible thing, I will admit, but I was like getting sleazy, smoking bowls, and there was a point where I was just like kind of like dozing off into the oncoming lane. Like, I was like, you know, we're going oncoming lane. It was like it switched from like 2 lanes going one way, 2 lanes going this way, to like now it's only just 1 lane where it's an oncoming and ongoing. So as soon as I was like sleazy, like I was starting to get real drowsy, I was starting to like, you know, swerve off to the other side, dude. Literally, like I could hear the honk increasingly getting louder, like the, you know, like the honk, and I'm like, holy shit, like, you know, I was like head on coming into a car, and I jerked back into my lane. But as soon as that, dude, and this is like the funny part of all of that, as soon as all of that happened, bro, right off the side, like right there, literally right there, as soon as like I caught that, there's like a state trooper right there, just posted up, just like, and I was like, fuck, dude. I was like, dude, this isn't, he's gonna pull us over. So I told my friend, I'm like, bro, like, because he wasn't like being an eyes for me, he wasn't being like an extra set of eyes, like he's just kind of like, whoa, bro, what the fuck. Like, I was like, dude, I'm over it, but you know, whatever. He was like, oh, what the fuck, you know. And then so they pull me over, and they're like, you know, license, registration, whatever. They're like, have you been smoking? Like, because dude, it was pretty bad. You couldn't, like, I was like, so I didn't want to lie and like make the situation worse. Like, I was obviously stoned, obviously. Not to say that like, oh, me being drowsy was gonna help either, because it was like, oh, dude, like the car smelled like weed, like, you know, there was just no way around it, bro. There's no way around it. So they're like, all right, we're gonna have you step out the vehicle. These dudes even did the whole test and everything, like the fucking, like, you know, pen, everything, the walk test, bro. Like, they did the whole thing, and still they put me in cuffs, dude. They didn't like, and I swear I did it good. I swear I was like capable of passing all of that, like doing it all like properly the way it should have. And they're like, oh, you're arrested. You're under arrest, you know, like. So they take me in. I'm in Kansas, right? Mind you, it's like 7 p.m. So it's like already nighttime. My buddy can't drive the truck because he doesn't have a license. So he's like, they're like, oh, well, we're gonna have to impound your truck, and they had to drive him to a hotel, to a nearby hotel. And all of the while that's happening, I'm being detained. I can't even contact my mom or anyone. Like, I'm out in the middle of Kansas, no contact with anyone whatsoever, and they arrested me. I'm like freaking out. I'm like, dude, whoa, like, whoa, you know, major just like slip up right there. So 3 days pass, I'm in there, the holding, and I get word my stepdad he was able to bail me out. So shout out my stepdad, but that still pretty much sucked. And I mentioned that because it's still affecting me today.
For real?
The system is fucked up.
How?
It's still going on. I have, so after that I got let off on a bond, but then I was kept following up with court hearings and stuff like that. Like I had to keep doing Zoom video calls and shit. Like all right, we're gonna reschedule your call like next yada yada. I've probably had maybe a total of maybe like about like 8 or 9 like court hearings over Zoom already. Yeah, probably like 7 or 8, something like that. But these dudes now, right, and this had been happening for the past like 2 years, and then the past year I had to pay off of like a $900 fee for the court. So it's just bullshit after bullshit after bullshit. You know what I mean? Like it's like fees, fines, court dates, all this bullshit, dude. And it's like, I didn't do anything wrong. I mean, yeah, I was okay, because they got me on 3 charges. Like they got me because I admitted, and this is why I say like I admitted to. I was like, yeah, I didn't want to lie because I didn't want it to be worse. I admitted to it. So even though they took blood samples from me and they ran the test, they're like, well, they came back with a test. They're like, it's not conclusive. It's like you don't have enough THC sample in your system.
And that's where it's usually just like.
But the fact that I admitted that I smoked weed, they took me on the DUI charge. So now I have 3. Now like I'm on 3 charges.
Basically that incentivizes you just to lie.
Right, dude. That's what I'm saying. So it's like I don't like. That's something that my parents always taught me. It was just like always tell the truth. Always just be a very truthful person, and things will work out. Whatever. So that's kind of what I had in mind. I was like, fuck, man, this is already a pretty bad situation. One, I already saved myself like from a near-death experience. Like that could have been way worse. It could have been way worse. Don't get me wrong. I'm not accounting for the fact that how worse things could have been. Like it could be
maybe that could have actually saved your life. Maybe them arresting you could have.
Yeah, then that's what I mean by like that arrest kind of like delayed a lot of things. Mm-hmm. The reason why I haven't been out doing as much as I've been wanting to, putting out as much, being as active as I want, being as present as I want, it's for that reason, man. It's kind of left me empty, like left my pockets empty. Just all of the things that I do have to be centered around that until it's over.
Yeah.
Upcoming on the 21st, I have a second, so I was supposed to have it in January, in-person meeting, bro. They had me go in person to Kansas, to the court in person, and I guess it's the sentencing, it's like the final hearing or whatever. So they're like, we can't do it over Zoom. You got to be in person for that one. So I was like, okay. So on the 19th or the 18th of January, I want to say it was the 19th. We went, me and my friend Eric, we had gone over to Kansas, but the day before, like we were already there, we were already in Kansas, but the day before I get an email, the night before the hearing that was supposed to be in the morning, they sent me an email. They're like, we're going to postpone your hearing to the 21st of February because your lawyer's going into labor. So my lawyer's wife had a kid and he couldn't be there for that. So I was like, dude, like, you guys made me come all the way over here just to tell me that this shit's not going to happen. And yet you still have the audacity to tell me that it's still going to be in person? Like, you couldn't have rescheduled it over Zoom or something? Like, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying, dude. That's ultimately what I'm trying to get, man, is that, the segueing into the whole system thing, man, is like the system is it's a dick.
Yeah.
The system likes to dangle like a toy in front of you, and it likes to like watch you try to catch it, like, it'll pull it back. It'll pull it back as soon as you think. But I'm still having to deal with that.
No, I agree. I know what you mean exactly, because I went through a similar situation. I'm not gonna say it on camera because I'm smart about it. I ain't saying shit on camera.
Yeah. No, yeah.
But I know what you mean.
No, I get you, man. I mean, the reason why I'm like okay with that one is because it's just traffic violations and like. Yeah,
but still, I mean,
it's not anything like I'm not like going like I'm not. It's not anything that I'm cool with like all right I got a DUI and fucking so. But I do understand that there are people with cases that are like, hey, maybe don't talk about that.
No. It's just like it's a very weird situation. But I'd rather not admit on camera just because.
I get you.
I am not gonna get caught.
Yeah, you're good. Shit, man. After off camera.
No, off camera for sure.
If you don't mind me asking, where were we at the time, or does it not matter?
It doesn't matter. I mean, so long as the conversation.
As long as the conversation goes.
Yeah, like, people ask me like, do I have a timer or do I have like questions in mind? No. Like,
yeah. When did we start? 7:49.
Let me check the messages.
And for our viewers at home, thank you for tuning in to Joe Martin. Shout out episode 42. I want to just say shout out 37.
Actually, you can check on the camera you want right now.
Oh, on the camera?
Yeah, check the camera. I should have like the numbers of how long we've been talking. Maybe take away like a minute or two because we were like setting up.
Oh yeah, it's at 56 minutes. That's
yeah,
good.
Like 54. We've probably been talking for like 54 minutes.
Well, we'll keep it pretty brief.
It's up to you, man. Like that's why I say like I accommodate my guests whatever they want as long as they want to talk.
For sure. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm an open book.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say I'm like someone that would just go on publicly and just start spewing everything, all of my secrets out there and whatever. But at the same time, I think that we as humans are all relatable. We all have someone out there that can hear what we say, see how we carry ourselves, and would just like to think, hey man, that's pretty neat. That's pretty cool. And I guess with all of everything that I've mentioned thus far, like I hopefully someone out there is listening and is like, yo, yeah, like that shit sucks. That shit sucks. Just know, like, I feel
even
you.
if they don't go through it, like,
yeah,
it's still like
even if
somebody
else, they'll know. Yeah, like, the system is fucking everyone's like a part of it. Everyone plays a certain role, and that goes with everything too, like the shows, the promoters, the bands, the venues. You see how it takes a whole community for all of this to come together and just happen. And that's just what we got to do more of here in the Valley, just more community based things that involves everyone and everyone can feel included into something that maybe is only like inclusive because the normal way of society wouldn't accept certain people. So it's like, hey man, there's a space, and you just got to be introduced to it, and that's all. On the topic, how has the community changed from Big Four now? Because like I always get jealous because people sometimes talk about like, oh, I used to go to Europe and a bunch of other places. I'm like, oh man, I wish I could have seen this. And Joe Martin, yeah, Joe Martin, man, Joe Martin. So like before, it was just kind of I didn't feel as like connected to the people. Mm-hmm. I will admit the like the goers and the people who take part in anything that's happening, right? Mm-hmm. It's just kind of, it's a demographic thing. I think previously it was just very like, yeah, the demographic was way like older people, like 24, 25-year-olds. It was rare, finding people my age or, I was like 15, 14, like 15, 16, yeah. Kind of like, I didn't really see anyone around my age. But as we're growing up, as we're getting older, we're all kind of there, we're all kind of like, we have the same mentality. We all went to high school, graduated, and yada, yada. Yeah, unique New York. Unique New York. You need unique New York. Can you say that? Unique New York, unique New York. You need unique New York.
Yeah, the tongue sisters. But yeah, people always talk about that stuff, and sometimes I do get jealous. But then some people tell me like, no, man, like it's actually better now. Like it's been the best now compared to like back then. So people say like, don't get jealous of it. Like now it's like
now it's really just kind of like, wow, anyone's game. Before I felt like, I wouldn't say it was like gate kept or there wasn't anything. It just didn't. Again, as I grew up, I found this to my own, for my own being, right? Mm-hmm. Like I figured it out. But like, it just felt gate kept. But because I didn't have the right like knowledge and resources to like even do anything remotely to be included. Like I wasn't making art the way that I am now. I wasn't making music the way that I'm now. So.
That and also like knowing the right people too. That's another important part.
Knowing the right people. First band I want to say like I had seen. First band was like Lunar Heart. Lunar Heart. They were like first Europe show I had seen. At the time I had just met up with Gustavo from Gusto. Mm-hmm. And he, took me under his wing. He, aside from my other friend in high school,
Yeah.
he had passed. Or no, I was hanging out with Gus, and he was like, for a time we were forming Gusto, and that was kind of like, all right, I'm gonna try this out.
Mhm.
My friend, he showed me what was going on, and these are the people. Let me just try to get on.
Yeah.
Try to see what's up. So Gus and I, we started making music, little demos he had. We worked on them and formed Gusto within a matter of months, and just started playing into that. And that was like the first ever like introduction. Like I was on the keys, playing synth for them for a couple shows.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say the last show was, I don't know if it was at the Gremlin. I want to say it was like at the Gremlin like last year or something.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, the Chicano Batman show too. I think that was like the last one that I played.
People are talking like I can't remember who it was, but they're trying to say like when Gusto plays, like it's like an event because like they hardly play that much.
Yeah.
Like, when they play, like you really gotta go to the show because
Yeah, they're.
it might be a couple of months before you see them again.
Yeah, Gus is
But
very.
yeah.
He's very like reserved for the right type of time, type
Yeah.
of place, type of person. Very kind of. He knows when to do, when not to do, when to drop, when not to drop. He's he's very on point with it. I actually met up with him like last week, and just to follow up and touch up on
Mhm.
on older stuff that we can revisit and try to come back with some new stuff. That's
Ooh.
still in the works. So
Yeah,
that's still that's something that's been that's been on my mind recently.
Mhm.
But like I said, I mentioned the whole like court stuff and all that stuff because it has been a huge hindrance. It has really gotten in the way of me doing way more than what it is that I'm doing right now. But
No, I feel the same way because like
well,
for me it's more it's money, the same thing, but I owed money for a credit card. So basically this was the thought process. Earlier, let's see, March or April of last year, I had really good critics at Home Depot. I was being very smart with my money. I said, you know what, I'm gonna raise my credit score. So I started off with a Discover card because also like almost anybody gets accepted by a Discover. I got to the point where my credit score was like 450, I think, which is like really good credit. I got an American Express card because if you get one, you get accepted, you don't have to pay interest on like the money that like holds over every month.
mm-hmm.
So okay, I have a month and I have like a certain amount of $1,000 worth of money to like spend.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me upgrade all my equipment. So I started buying a lot of equipment, but like quickly that stuff started adding up in the thousands.
Yes.
Yeah, because like all of this.
Yes,
is
it's not cheap.
It's
not cheap at all, bro. Not
No,
cheap
man.
at all. You're investing.
No, I really invested. I'm like, okay, man. And then earlier on, I had like two Audio Technicas AT 2020s, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And my producer's like, no, man, like, since you're like going in like treated rooms, you need to get a dynamic mic, not a condenser mic. And I'm like, fuck. So like, and I need to buy like different mics. I bought these.
The different, yeah.
Yeah,
You,
yeah.
you gotta go through that whole learning curve of like what's good, what's not
what's
good.
not.
And you gotta buy, you gotta try, and you gotta sell, you gotta like.
And I was
just-
thinking so ahead, like, okay, like, you know what? If I'm gonna start like interviewing musicians, I need to do it fast because there's other people who are doing this too. And I'm a little bit competitive. I'm not gonna
No,
lie.
I get you.
But what's it called?
I like that though. I like that because I'm the same way. I believe
Yeah.
I believe in competitiveness to the point of like friendly competitiveness.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I believe that there is no like I'm not doing any better than you. You're not doing any better than me. But we're both trying to strive for the same sort of results. So let's try to
Mhm.
see who can do it better or who can do it. If
Yeah.
if early bird gets the worm type thing. Obviously.
Basically, and for me, it was more it's being competitive, but it was more like, okay, where's the bar set?
Right.
So like I already found like, so I saw like other people who interviewed bands here in the valley. I'm like, okay, so this is what they're doing. What can I do different? Okay, so the first thing was equipment. Another thing was like doing it in person because some people interview through Zoom. I'm not a big fan of that. Like I love talking with people and actually
Yeah,
meeting up.
100%. The in person is the way
Yeah.
to go for sure.
And like later on, I might have to do it through Zoom because there's bands who are like from other states, and I'm like,
Oh, that's understandable.
Yeah, that's
though. Like
understandable.
this is home, this is valley, this is like
yeah. And so like I started like racking up a bunch of like money, and I didn't tell people because I'm like, I don't want people to think like, oh, this guy's bad with money.
Right.
I know exactly what I was trying to do. So I'm like, okay, when it comes to like making a business, like either you have your money already made or like you get a loan from like an investor. For me, it was a credit card. So like throughout the months, like my money starts like racking up, and I'm like, oh shit, like I could pay it off. But then I started switching jobs because I went from Home Depot to working at the school district. The school district pays a lot more money, but it's like because they only pay every second month. They don't pay every 2 weeks.
They don't pay every second month?
Every second week.
Oh, every second week?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So bi-weekly. It was
it's not bi-weekly. It's weird.
Every second week of the month only.
Yes.
Oh, so that's cheese, bro. Why would they do that?
Sometimes there's like 3 weeks apart where I'm like, get a paycheck.
And you gotta like save that money. You gotta like not like it's because for me my biggest problem is when a check would hit was like the weekend after. Boom, like let's have a good time. Let's just, let's go out to eat, and then before you know it, your whole check's gone. Or you gotta like save up for the, but luckily, the job I was working, it was like a weekly thing. So I can only imagine like what monthly.
And before some teachers had it worse, where like before things like certain teachers, they would only get paid once a month. So like you really needed to balance your money.
That's dude.
I mean, you get a giant paycheck, but like you need to kind of like okay.
Yeah. Yeah, man, and that's something that I feel like the education system is like, bro. If you're not investing into the teachers or investing into like the people that are like raising the next wave of people, like next generation of people that are gonna like populate this place, we got to really start really start from the start.
My issue is the more you learn about the system, the worse it gets. So people always say like, oh, let's invest more in education. when money gets into schools. The ones who always get the most money are the giant share of it is administration. But no one's going to be telling you that. Like, people's like, oh, let's increase the money for education. Sure, but like...
It's like trickled down. It's like...
Yeah, so the administration gets like the giant portion of it. But again, it's because they're running the system. They do get paid a little bit more. But teachers get like the lesser parts of it.
Yeah.
It's a whole mess. Like, that's also like this... Anytime you enter something, you come in idealistic. But then, like, the longer you stay there, like, the more you start realizing how things run.
Yeah, that was Navy, the Navy for me.
True?
Yeah, like, being in there was just kind of like, oh, okay, wow, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. I didn't even get into that, but, we can talk about it after the show.
Yeah,
but,
so basically, I have so much money, like, I owed for I'm almost going to pay it off, so that's a good thing. My new job pays me really well. And so, like, for a while, I couldn't do shows just because like, I don't have money to, like, pay the band. So like I want to make sure like, okay, you know what, let me pay this off first, then I'll start doing more shows.
Yeah. So, and then just kind of keep that money trying to circulate as much as possible, trying to perpetuate that cycle of like, boom, I already got my money, all the things I needed. Yes, I might not have any right now, but at least I have all of these like assets. I have all of these things that are gonna work for me, that are gonna be my money. Exactly. make your money work for you type thing. Like,
so like this podcast, like the podcast has sunk in so much money off.
Yeah, I bet. And not only that, but like the time and everything to set up to go and meet up the artists. No, shout out.
But again, I like this because like, again, my actual background in college is advertising. Cool. So like,
nice.
I told this story many times, but like I did research on the bands, and most bands, their Instagram followers is between 1,500 to 2,000. Some reach 3,000, 4,000, but it's very rare. And like I was telling Edwin, not you, Edwin, sorry, 37th and a bunch of others, my town of La Villa, which is next to Cachao, our population is like 2,000 some. So it would be like if only this town knew who you were.
Yeah,
in the entire valley, no idea who you were.
You mentioned that on the High Priestess when
I mentioned that a lot of times.
Yeah, and a lot of
because it's still like it's kind of scary because like I want to like there's bands that are like, well, there's a specific band I help out, and I'm like I get scared because I'm like, okay, if the biggest bands aren't doing so like well financially, like what does it mean for like the other bands?
Right, like where do they even like fall into the mix? Because it's like if you are like the biggest dude, the top dog, the one dude, then what does that mean for like the everybody smaller fish? You know what I mean? What does that mean for like the one that has like no outreach, no friend, no connectivity whatsoever? Like damn. And then but then that's what I mean is the whole process. It's a personal process. It's like a personal journey that everyone has to go through if you want it. And I'll say to the people who are like, they have notoriety, they have their accolades, people back them up for what they've done. It's like because there's like a stronghold there. There's like a foundation of like, oh hey, this person was there from the start. This person saw me when I was just playing like for 4 or 5 other people, like, and that's mad respect. That's straight mad respect for those people, like, and they know who they are. Like, And I believe that everything is all perceptual. Like if you see someone with like like a shit ton of followers, that's just a number. That's just a perception. Whatever value you give followers and numbers and things of that nature, like that's how successful they are to you. But like that's not to say that they didn't sacrifice a lot to get there. It's not an easy feat to say that you all your followers are from the ground up, or all of them came because they saw you perform and now they're following you. Now they want to know more about you. They want.
And there's a dirty secret, like just something I want to tell people who are smaller. Like you're saying, don't always fall for the followers, because I'm not exposing anybody or anything, but like there's certain people who I know that they use their personal account and then they made it into a musical account. So like they have all these followers and people are like, oh my god, they're so big. But then like the people who actually follow them for the music is much smaller compared to the people
who just followed them because well,
so never be discouraged by just like big numbers. That's what I'm telling people. So people get discouraged, like, oh my god, I'll never reach it. No, you will eventually.
Yeah, eventually. And like that's a very true thing. Is like, I mean, I would even say like shit. I'd do that. Like I use my personal to like promote all the art and stuff that I put out. It's not like, but then again, there came a point where I just like, it's not to say that all the people that I have on my Instagram or all the people that follow me and socials, like I am in contact with them. Like no, it's really all just and a lot of it did come from music. Like a good, I don't know, like 40-50% of my followers just came from me putting music out and being in the scene, being involved with things. And that's what I believe too, is if you have content out, if you have music that's genuinely like interesting, even if it is like specific, even if it is weird, even if it is like not gonna pick up because it's not like
it's not commercial.
It's not commercial. It's not like you can't get lit to it, whatever. I think there's always going to be the one person that to keep the balance of things. There's always going to be someone that sees your value for what it is, and that's like the true like beauty in all of it is the fact that you can resonate with that one person. That one person, bro. It could change your whole life. It's all it takes. It's just one person. One set of ideas gets carried into another, and then it like blooms into something much more than what it was. So no discouragement to anyone out there wanting to start anything. If anything, I would like to see more. I would like to see more people give it a shot, give it a crack at it, and don't be discouraged if it doesn't pick up. If people are like not rocking with your sound, like just work on your craft and get better. Is all I can say. And I mean, I that's all I really have to say. I mean, I've got friends that make music, but they haven't really, like, personally, I would say, like, bro, you just got to brush up on your sound. Like, I could help you do a little something here and there, but ultimately, dude, you gotta be the one to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna see results if you don't do. You gotta do.
Some people think like someone's gonna come out of nowhere and just help you out.
No,
it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. You gotta want things done. You gotta do them right and just be quality control the whole time. Yeah. 100%.
How do you go through that? Like when it comes to like a quality control, like how do you know when a song's gonna be good compared to when it's not?
Well, I think mainly it's just the end product that I'm more satisfied with. I'm not really satisfied with anything right off the bat. Like there's nothing that I'm like, oh dude, this riff, this chords is gonna be like the song that just elevates me to the next. Like no, it's more of like I'll work on a track, I'll open a project, I'll start it, and then I'll sit on it for months. It'll be there in my laptop in the vaults, just there, and then I'll open it one day and just have a new approach to it. Just kind of finish it, just write whatever ideas I wasn't thinking at the time, put them in, and it's like, oh, this fits beautifully with this one beat that I was making. And that's why as an artist, I believe it just comes to you at the right moment, at the right time. Everything is divine timing. Everything is moving according to the right set of circumstances, and what I truly believe. But I because it helps alleviate a lot of the stresses that comes with being an artist. You know what I'm saying? If you want to get rid of that mindset of like, if you're an overthinker and you're like, oh, my stuff's not good enough, just sit on it. Just ponder, like just let the ideas come to you naturally, and the invisible hand will just forcefully do the work for you. And I've seen a lot of like crazy results from not thinking and doing, like from just getting, like sitting down, putting a piece of paper, getting your pen, like a ballpoint pen, nothing like crazy like that, even just start going. And then you see the end product as a whole and you're like, holy shit, like this wasn't even what I was going for. It wasn't even planned. This wasn't even planned, and this is how it ended up, just walk with the fact that you have like the outcome already, like with the fact that you've already finished what it is that you're doing and you're relishing and enjoying it.
And at what point do you like, how do you like realize that? Because this is a question I always ask musicians. At what point do you realize, like, you know what, this is good enough, and this is
oh yeah, like what all right, so there's multiple tests that I put myself through to like decide that. Yeah, there's like things I personally do myself.
What's your ritual, I guess?
It's pretty much just play it out through the cars, play it through various speakers, play it through various headphones, play it,
I think, that's smart,
while you're drunk, while you're I don't know, man, that's like guinea pig shit right there. But I'm willing to do that for my craft, because
I think that's pretty smart, because people don't realize that people probably just like focus on their monitors, but like some people have different headphones, earphones. There's so many different like ways of listening. That
key component to dropping music is you have to test every instance in which you could be listening to that one song. If you're taking a shit, if you just woke up, if you're about to go to sleep, if you're going to work, if you're driving home from work, everything has its own setting, you know what I mean? And it's like, if this hits while you're driving, like at 3 a.m. from like, I don't know, you had a bad fallout with your ex or something, and like, you just, and it hits all the right feels and shit. It's like, bro, you could do something for someone at that moment, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could really, like, I don't know, man. It's the hope that it will. It's the hope that it will, and that your message is received. So, but yeah, Edwin Voyager is mainly what I go by. Afterlife Dating Site is like the side project with all of that. I'm sure, later down the lines, we'll get more into it. I don't really have much out right now personally, but I guess if anything, if I would say for this interview, on March the 3rd, we're going to have a show at the Gremlin as Afterlife Dating Site. Yeah. So, it'll be me and Leo. And we set that up with Bice, Pillow Snake, Italia. Man, I want to say there's like, dude, and there's this one other artist on there. He's like an ambient kind of artist. Like, he's really slow. Like, got the time to check out his stuff on the bill, and I was like, bro, I like this. It sounds very slow, very quiet, very ambient, very not. But I'm rocking with it. I like it. It's a very interesting set of artists on that bill. But pop out on the Gremlin, the March 3rd show. Yeah. So if this is out before then, I'm sorry. I don't mean to.
Checking. Yeah. It should be out by then.
Yeah.
So just give me like a poster and I'll put it in the video.
Okay, dope. Yeah. So you'll definitely be able to catch us there. Check out Afterlife Dating Site for sure, and just keep on the lookout. Anything new coming down along the lines, it'll be known. It'll be there. I have another clothing brand, like umbrella type thing, that's Moth to Fire. It's gonna incorporate like a lot of things, a lot of friends, people that I'm associated with. So
it's exciting.
Definitely.
I guess the last question I usually ask my guest is, what's your favorite part of the podcast?
Favorite part of the podcast? Yes. My favorite part of the podcast was just being here and enjoying my time with my good pal, Joe Martin. And I got a list of things we're going to do after the show. So me too. No, I'm just quoting SpongeBob, bro, and he's like, with my best pal Squidward. He's like, bro, no, man. But no, yeah, man. I really enjoyed talking to you, bro.
Same.
Very good show you got going on, and I'm always looking forward to the next episode.
I appreciate it. So, a lot. Because again, like, nobody needs to be watching this stuff. It's just,
it's just us. Yeah, it's just us. I personally though, in like, cause dude, I've seen your views, man. You'll put an episode out in like the next 2 days, next 2-3 days. Like, it'll be like already 100, 200. That's numbers, bro. That's numbers, man. It's decent. When I'm speaking and like when I'm trying to like conversate with you, I do it already knowing that that you're gonna be successful. So I want to just give you like a good representation of who I am. No, I know your show's been going pretty good, like in terms of views, like because you don't say like no, why the bro? You what you mean?
Like it's weird for me because like my presence.
How do you think? Like, how do you perceive like what you put out as, and like how does that?
So like I'll tell you like I'll say my part first. Like
Word.
for anybody who's been on the show, we do the podcast. I ask you a question. You know, what's your favorite part of the podcast? It ends. I go to back to my house. I upload the audio to my producer. He edits, and then I post it. Eventually, I eventually do my editing, and then I post it. I do look at the numbers. I'm not gonna lie, but like, it's for me. It's cool because like you feel validated because people are watching and you see like the numbers go up and like 100, 200, 400. But at the same time, it feels kind of hollow because like they're just numbers. They're not like people.
100%.
The only time it really hits me is when people come up to me like, "Hey, Joe Martin, like I watch your interviews." That's when it matters.
Yeah.
Not the numbers, but when people actually come up to me and actually say, "Hey, I watch your show. I appreciate it, and I like what you're doing."
Mm-hmm.
That's when it matters to me the most. 100%.
Yeah. And that's a very like just honest, organic way of going about it for sure.
Yeah, because like it happened recently when I went to the 707. There are some bands that were performing there, and it was so funny because I was talking with my friend David, and some kids just walked up to me like, "Are you Joe Martin?"
Are you Joe Martin? Yeah, you're Joe Martin, bro. You're fucking you're an icon around here, bro. For real.
Yeah, but like I don't let it get to my head, but I just appreciate it that people actually, because again, the reality is. And I try to be very honest to myself. People mostly watch the shows because they want to see the person I'm interviewing. No one's like a huge fan of Joe. I don't like the way I perceive it. I don't think people are big fans of me, but like they're big fans of the people I have on, and that's why people watch. It was just me talking to myself, to the camera. That would be.
Yeah, like how would that have gone? Like what route would have been?
Yeah. So like I try. That's why like I don't ever let it get to my head because I know most people are watching just because they want to watch the guests I have on, and that's why I let you guys do the majority of the talking.
I'm for sure gonna share this to all my friends and followers and people out there that
I appreciate it, and that always means a lot. But again, it's more like I know people are watching for you, not me. I just facilitate the conversation.
Trust me, Joe. I'm here for you, bro. I'm here with you. I'm here for you. I'm here to help move the cause, bro. I honestly, when 37 told me, he was like, yeah, man, just reach out to him. You know, he'll be cool. I'll be like, oh, sweet, bet. You know, and I know you had mentioned like you gotta at least have some content, like be doing something.
Some content, something like to promote and like to show that you're actually active. Because I kind of have like sometimes there's been people who I don't know who they are and they're not involved with the music scene, and I'm like, I don't know who you are, and like I can't just go to your house.
yeah, you're not doing stuff, bro. You're not doing much, bro. What are we here to talk about?
It's not just that, but like if I don't know who you are and like no one can vouch for you, like, hey, I know this person. I'm like, should I even talk to this person?
Yeah. No, that's the nice thing, man. Is you're getting like everyone, all the right people.
Yeah.
You're getting everyone that's just pushing and carrying the torch. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I
appreciate
cheers.
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 The little bit of
water.
Good show, man. Good conversation. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed every bit of it.
And once you start releasing your stuff, I would love to have you back on and start promoting that stuff out.
Hey, for sure. We'll have a part 2 soon. Hey,
definitely.
Trust me, man. I'm gonna come back and it'll be some fire. Be some fire shit, bro. But hey, shout out everyone who made it this far.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate it.
Beautiful. Alrighty.
Right, well.
So this concludes the Joe Martin podcast, episode 42.
42, and I was even with the cups there.
Even
I appreciate
the cups,
it.
JMS,
Yes,
bro.
42. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.